What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 347. It is another fine Sunday. We get to talk about gaming, and we are back as the full three amigos this week, joined as always by the lawman, as he's known pretty widely, I believe. Yes. Hoglaw is here, back, ready to talk about Bonanza and a bunch of other things. How we doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. You know, anytime you can have a good game release in the week that we have a Bitcast is a good time for me. So I'm excited about talking that.
Yeah.
I can also use my English words fully. Should be a good one.
Fully human Hogue.
That's right.
Hogue's just going to be an AI a few months from now.
I'm not a video construct.
That's exactly what a video construct would say, by the way.
This is true. It is suspect. But back from some NDA assignment that he still refuses to tell us about, and I would like our audience to pester him about it, if you could, please. The tie guy himself, Mr. Travis Northup. I used your full name. That's what you get when you don't tell us what's going on with the NDA. Yeah.
Mr. Northup. I never had that as a child, so I appreciate it from you, that somebody using my full name when I'm in trouble. It's really important. I think it's instructive. Maybe I'd be better behaved if somebody had done that to me. You know what I mean?
We're going to try it. We'll see what happens.
I need a firm hand. That's what I need, boys. That's what I need.
Going to ping D. D, firm up that hand on Travis. Come on.
I can't imagine D being a firm hand ever to anyone. It's not, I don't think that's in it. She doesn't have a firm bone in her floppy body.
Oh my god. Well, it's a good to have you back. Hope the trip last week was well, whatever the hell it was. And we've got some stuff to talk about. Obviously, we've been talking about for the past few weeks leading up to Donkey Kong Bonanza releasing. So we've been playing a lot of that, and obviously that'll be a big topic today. We've got the latest Destiny 2 expansion in the Edge of Fate. A couple other things in the rumor mill we're going to touch on today. But we're ready to be talking about some games. And let's get to these early super chats to kick us off with our generous community here. If I could figure out how to use this platform that I use every week.
Yep. No.
All right. There we go.
Googleman81, €10 super chat. Murderbot, another one of those Apple TV shows everyone loves to hear me talk about, is very good and bingeable or bingable, depending on how
Microsoft wants you to say.
You are. If you can accept lots of space hippies, I cannot.
True. I think you always have to accept lots of space hippies if you're watching some sci-fi.
I can't accept terrestrial or spacious hippies.
Spacious hippies?
Yes.
Just fit a lot in those hippies. Yeah. Yes, we actually finished this week, the first season anyway. It's 10 episodes. They are only like 25 minutes an episode, so you can definitely binge it if you want to. It's a goofy show, little different, but it's fun. Yeah.
Apple has a good hit rate. I like the Apple platform.
Yeah.
I can speak. Yeah. I can.
That's his software failing, Travis. We got to watch it.
JFK Jr. over here. So it's good.
Googleman, thank you as always for the generosity and for kicking us off every week. Appreciate you, man. Random name in the house.
Random _ name, $4.99 super chat. I have started playing a lot of cozy games.
Okay.
So I decided to pick up Date Everything, by the way. Donkey Kong Bananza is a cozy game and my game of the year. Nice.
A cozy game, is it?
Don't know. Haven't played it, but Date Everything certainly is a cozy game. Unfortunately, it is pretty busted right now. Like D hasn't been able to play her account in several weeks, and they have not fixed it. So
yeah, I've checked in a couple of times and been like, I can't believe there's no updates.
Yeah, their Discord is basically smoking and burning at all times. People are pretty upset, but they said it's their highest priority and that they're working on a fix ASAP, which I assume would be the case because it's pretty much a deal breaker. But yeah, it sucks to put tens and tens of hours into a story-based game and then have your save file basically evaporate in front of you. So sucks.
I don't think Bonanza is a cozy game necessarily, but I do think Collectathon as a genre doesn't demand the kind of aggressive, precision-based gameplay that other games do. So I can see how someone would classify it in the more chill side of the gaming spectrum.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think for me, it's definitely a relaxing game in that sense. It doesn't really challenge you in any way that I've found so far, but we'll get to it, of course.
That's interesting to hear. Kind of like a Wario game where you can't die, like that level of
you can die, but it's super rare and it doesn't really matter.
Nice.
It's
just like in real life.
It is definitely super rare in real life. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk more about it soon. Random Rain, thank you, my friend. And he also says, thanks for being so awesome, guys. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you for being awesome.
He says, guys. Yeah, I think he means two of us. Now, the question is, what two?
That's the most fun game to play with your kids.
Mr. Eric playing one of our Destiny SG guys. What's he got to say here? Oh,
Game Positive. He offers me $2.79 Canadian. Pause for laugh. So who's got space for me on the raid team? Hashtag Destiny. Raid team. Yes. Well, it took the contest mode raid team 15 hours plus to clear the raid yesterday, which is one of the longer. It's done finally.
Okay.
We can talk about why and whether or not that was a good thing that happened, or if the experience itself was good.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to it, of course.
If you're talking to me, I certainly have room on my raid team because I started playing late. I finished the campaign yesterday. I finished all the side quests and stuff yesterday, so I am now raid ready, but I did not participate in the contest mode as I usually do yesterday because I was working on other stuff this week. Had a very busy review week. We can talk about that as well.
Okay. Yeah. Eric, thank you, my friend. Hope you're enjoying it. We've got Dragon Nerd 2.
Dragon Nerd 2, sequel to Dragon Nerd 1, as we all know.
Far superior sequel from what I've heard.
Yeah. Changed the main character, which was bold, but I think it worked out for them. The gambit paid off. $4.99 super chat. Donkey Kong isn't a 10 for me. Donkey Kong is about being a great game and soundtrack. The soundtrack is great.
Isn't great.
Oh, I see that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Usually Donkey Kong's known for its soundtracks. Does it not have a jazzy?
Yeah, we have a lot to discuss Bonanza, but I do think the soundtrack goes a different direction than people that love Donkey Kong Country might expect.
Interesting.
True. Yeah, they use it in different ways, which I think is kind of obvious given the structure of the game, but I can see the comment. Dragon Nerd, thank you for the super chat. We will be talking about Bonanza in more depth here shortly. Gregors, haven't seen Gregors in a little bit. Hope he's doing well.
Gregors Watroba. He offers 25 Polish
zloty.
Zloty. Got inspired so much by cozy games that I'm working on my own as we speak. Awesome. Hopefully trend won't plummet till next year.
Cozy games never go away, Gregors. You just tell us what it is and I will take a look at it. I promise.
Yeah.
Cozy games aren't going anywhere. They're gonna it's a staple.
That's awesome. Good luck with development. And absolutely hit us up and let us know what it is once you get to that place of it being playable. So fantastic.
Also explains why we haven't seen Gregors around.
He's
working on a game.
Yeah.
Busy. He's got stuff going on.
Cool.
McClunky, Alex. McClunky.
Let's get to Tide's picks, of course. Here we've got obviously Bonanza themed picks this week where we look like this.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be a gorilla.
Nice.
Yeah, I figured gorilla kind of themed stuff too, but instead I think she just went with pure bananas.
I look like I've gone native with the monkeys.
Yeah, Hogue you're starting to transform.
Yeah, Hogue is hunting me down, I think. He looks like he's trying to he wants to turn me into a carpet. And Ains is just selling weed.
It looks like it, and I'm way too happy about it.
Yeah, he's just not involved in bananas or monkeys at all. He's just a weed farmer.
In fairness, that's how Donkey Kong looks when he gets the bananas. So
this is true.
Right.
He looks like he's not holding any bananas. That's what he looks like.
He just looks really happy about the whole banana situation. I assume they're just off camera.
I see. That's very charitable.
Yeah. I'm actually on Donkey Kong's back there. You just can't tell. That's my Pauline version.
I'm rocking the theme park caricature look. So,
also, Ains, why are you wearing a backpack in this?
A lot of bananas, bro, or drugs, whatever.
A lot of drugs. Yeah. How many pounds are you moving in this photo? It's crazy.
Oh my God, Ty, thank you as always. Appreciate you. Gregor's followed up with a second super chat just now, so let's get to that before we move on.
Gregor's ads for 25 Polish zloty. Greeting, y'all. Managed to join you live this time. On Apple, you also have 1,000 blows from creator of Peaky Blinders. Okay. It's short but awesome.
I haven't seen that one. I will have to check that out.
Apple's got a lot of good stuff.
Short does not require a but, it requires an and. Short and awesome.
Fair enough, yeah. Thank you for the recommendation, Gregors. Appreciate that. All right. Let's get to it. Clearly, let's jump to the biggest news before we get to lore dump. I'm biding time for you just a little bit more here, Travis.
Oh, I've got it.
Okay, but the biggest news
we're ready to take it
games is that popcorn buckets have moved to the gaming arena, my friends.
Very cool.
And how is this not a Kojima element first, huh? How did Kojima miss out on this?
I don't know, but I agree. But Alamo Drafthouse is partnering with Sony to do a Ghost of Yotei popcorn bucket in the theme of classic Japanese something or other. I forget the name. Here's what it looks like.
Yep. That sure is a bucket.
There you go. That's a bucket.
What are people doing with all these buckets, bro?
I don't know, but I went to see F1 last week. We talked about this while you weren't here, Travis. I went to see F1 last week, and as you walk in, they had a table of all these different popcorn buckets, and they're like they're not like $5. They're like $20 and $30. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, agree with you. Like, where are you putting all these popcorn buckets, and what are you doing with them?
Guys, if you've lost the collector, I don't know what to tell you, because Ains has a whole host of things that I don't know what he does with.
It's true.
So if he's over popcorn buckets, you guys got to take another look at where you're going.
Yeah, you were never going to get me with the popcorn buckets, but Ains, that's a surprise. I figured he would have an entire shelf dedicated to the popcorn buckets.
No, they're like, I mean, because they're like, it's not like they're, I don't know, I wouldn't call them collectible. They're just like plastic little goofy things.
Very collectible. But, I mean, isn't that all the stuff you have on your shelves is plastic little goofy things?
No, it's
well, I mean that Donkey Kong.
He's like, no, some of them are plush. Yeah,
no, big statues are not plastic.
What are they?
They're like a resin. They're statues. Resin? Yeah.
Okay. That seems worse.
No, you need to come out here. Come hang out. You see them.
You want me to hang out so I could look at your action figure collection, bro?
Well, and other stuff, and they're not action figures. Don't be childish. Stop it.
They're dolls, Travis. Come on.
They're dolls. Yeah. Literally what I was going to go. What do you call them, dolls?
But anyway, Alamo Drafthouse, if you are interested in that, the reason I brought it up, jokes aside, is they are screening 5 of the classic, I don't know if they're Kung Fu, but movies that inspired the Sucker Punch team with their Ghost games. And so they are screening those 5 movies at special times where this popcorn bucket will be available, I think, from next week through like the end of August. So you can check that out if you have an Alamo Drafthouse near you and you do want to pick up that popcorn bucket. So there you go. I just saw that this morning and I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
I went to Superman yesterday with my kids and I did pass on the dog dish popcorn bucket. So there you
dog dish. Okay. How was Superman?
Oh, I love Superman. I saw it on opening day. And then
that's right.
I wanted the kids to see it and we went yesterday and they wound up loving it. So
awesome.
I highly recommend it. I enjoyed it.
I've heard great things. Yeah. And it's obviously done very well, which is good. Okay. Cool. Travis, hit us with that lore dump, my friend.
Okay. What's a game you guys would irrationally defend? No matter how bad it actually is. Is there a game you guys irrationally defend?
The famous one, well, not famous, the known one for me amongst the SG group, and I've talked about it many times in this space, is Biomutant. So that's the first one that comes to mind for me because it's not widely critically it was like a 6.5, 7. And I love that game to death. So that's the first one that comes to mind, but I'll try to think of one I maybe haven't mentioned before.
Nice.
Ains loves an quasi open world collectathon.
I do.
I am already expectant of what our conversation in a few minutes is going to be like. So
yeah, that's what Bonanza is. So yes.
And what do I defend? Mass Effect Andromeda, maybe?
That's a pretty good one to irrationally defend.
I still remember playing that before it released because it was one of the first early access things we got at SG. I think you can find my writing about Andromeda like the first year I started SG when we were like nothing. And I was blown away at how awkward that was playing that.
Yeah, I reviewed it too, actually.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I like a lot of bits of Andromeda, and I think certainly in retrospect, seeing what else BioWare has put out, it is not the car crash that it was portrayed as when it released, even though it was a step down from what they had been doing just before that.
What about Resident Evil 6?
Resident Evil 6 is one where it's like I understand how people don't react kindly to it. I just think it's better than they think. I tend to be on the other side of this argument more, you know that, where I don't like Resident Evil Village very much. I don't like Mass Effect 2 very much. This is where I get my curmudgeon street cred and people get mad at me. So,
well earned.
We'll see. I'll be collecting some more in just a few minutes, folks. So get excited. Get those keyboards ready.
Earth Defense Force. Pretty easy one for me. Specifically, Earth Defense Force. One.
Travis, I respect you as a reviewer. I respect your taste and selecting good games. I've tried this series. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, that checks out. Again, I have nothing. I have no words. It's one of those games, like specifically Earth Defense Force 2017, which like by every measure is a bad game. Like the frame rate runs poorly. It has absolutely atrocious dialogue, and the line deliveries are like famously terrible. They're like iconically bad. But if you play that game with a group of your boys, you guys are giggling like you're in 8th grade, and that's hard to get. That's hard to find. It might also be, Hogue, the way we play these games. I assume you play them alone in a dark, dimly lit room with a glass of Cabernet next to you, and you're just this grim expression of tolerance upon your face, because you're expecting art. And I play it with the boys, and we're just being ratchet as hell in voice chat, and we're laughing it up. And it's
ratchet. That's not a word I've heard in a while.
Yeah. Wait, is that? I don't understand. Back it up for me just a step. What is ratchet?
That's great. We're being goblins. Is that more clear for you?
Rowdy and misbehaved.
Yeah, rowdy, misbehaved, a little, maybe lowborn is how you'd think of us. So
I don't know what horse you think I sit on that is so high.
Well, you have an advanced degree and you use multisyllabic words almost exclusively. So I like to think you're a little pretentious.
I hope not. I hope folks don't generally think of me as pretentious.
Okay. Well, you used the word pretentious, so you gained a few.
It took all of my willpower to not lengthen that word.
No, if you said pretentious, I was going to be like, well, Hogue, you refused to say pretentious, so
it was
I
a
don't
trap.
know. I did. You did not activate my trap card, so good power to you. You did just stick out your pinky though when you drank from that bottle, and I noticed that. And I noticed it.
It's a tea.
Hogue, you're drinking it from a mug. You don't need to go. Guys, rewind the tape. Hogue stuck out his pinky right after claiming he wasn't pretentious. I just want to point that out.
I'm doing my best.
Right? That was insane timing.
Okay, so. I did not claim I wasn't pretentious. I said I hope people don't see me as pretentious.
I hope my cover isn't blown.
That's a fair distinction.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh Jesus. Okay. Well, yeah, that's my game. I know the games aren't good, but I have a really fun time playing them with my friends, and it's hard to separate how much fun a game is to its like very obvious flaws, especially like its technical flaws, which are like objectively observable. But you know, when you're laughing with your boys, it's hard to set that aside.
I get that. Sometimes it just works for you and your friend group or otherwise. I'm trying to think of, I think it was a movie or a TV show that was recommended to me by some like YouTubers. And I was watching it and it was just garbage. And I watched their review again and I was thinking, oh, this is the scenario where they're just riffing on each other and they're joking and they're having a grand old time at the end and they think that was what the actual content was. It's like, no, whatever happened in that room, you guys got your entertainment out of it, but it did not translate to what I bought.
Yeah. It's like seeing a bad movie in the theater and everybody's cracking up and throwing things at the screen. Like one of my most formative movie experiences when I was young was seeing a really bad movie in the hood in Oakland and it just being like the funniest, most exciting experience I've ever had. And that's hard to separate your experience from like the content that you actually got, you know?
Yeah, experience definitely matters. I mean, that's honestly why I talk about being up late playing multiplayer constantly, because it's not even necessarily about the game per se. It's more about just having laughs and goofing off.
Yeah.
So
apparently that's Ratchet.
It can be.
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
It can be. Yeah. It depends on how off color your group is.
All right. Good Lord. I would say I probably thinking about that. I was probably more in the movie space. You know, when you like horror movies a lot, there's a lot of low budget horror movies.
A lot to defend in that genre. That's for sure.
Yeah. And now, to be fair, there is the other end nowadays, right? Horror movies have kind of evolved where the higher end stuff, A24, Neon, those companies have really helped in that space make horror movies that are much more intelligent than like 80s slashers. But, you know, you get everything in that genre.
My objection to A24 dominating the space is that everything is a freaking metaphor. Sometimes it's just a monster. Come on, A24.
Yeah, they're good in the horror space. Some of their other stuff I'm hit or miss on. And then Neon gets a little even weirder with it sometimes, and they're hit or miss too.
They do.
Yeah. We got a couple other super chats to get to before we talk Bonanza. So Christopher Jets are coming back to our popcorn bucket.
Chris Jets, $5 super chat. Is the Alamo Cinema a company that Sony wanted to acquire or invest in? I thought I read that somewhere.
Yes. If I recall correctly, I think they did acquire Alamo. Did they not? Like a year or two ago? Like a while ago? Someone want to Google that real quick?
It's possible. A lot of the studios started looking at theater purchases when the walls fell.
Yeah. Yes, they did. They acquired them last year. It was right.
Bought it. Looks like they
Sony Pictures acquires Alamo Drafthouse from Altamount Capital Partners, whatever the ownership company was there. So
some private equity group, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, they did that last year.
That's a good acquisition for them.
Well, that explains the popcorn bucket. Good job,
there
Chad.
You go. There you
I will
go.
say I really resent the popcorn bucket for a video game. That seems your hands are busy. Also, who eats popcorn when they're playing a game? Can you imagine?
You could do it for Kojima games.
I was going to say, with this news, Hideo got on the phone and said, "What are you doing, Sony? Death Stranding was right there."
I'll be honest, even if it was a Kojima game with really long cutscenes, you want butter on your hands before you touch your controller again? Like that's a good way to go through a controller.
I don't think you're wrong, Travis, but
that's crazy.
I do think a Hideo Kojima Bridge Baby bucket would have done some numbers.
Yeah.
Would you be eating the popcorn out of the baby? Like you'd be opening its head?
It would have like a picture of the baby on the outside. No, it would be the Bridge Baby like womb, and the popcorn would be in the bucket.
So the popcorn, is it like in a mold that's making the popcorn take the shape of a fetus? Is that sort of the idea?
It's not the shape of the baby. It's the if you look at Death Stranding, the baby is in a little thing that Sam puts on his stomach. It's like
so you're saying the popcorn is around the baby? It's like molding.
I'm saying there is no baby in the bucket. It's just a picture on the outside.
You're just describing an orb then. It's not really an interesting bucket anymore. I feel like the baby has to either be
these things are not interesting buckets. They're pointless collector's items.
I'm trying to make the industry a little better, and you're standing in the way of that. That's all I'm saying.
We're gonna move on from the popcorn bucket conversation.
Very
Chris,
well.
thank you for the super
Now we
chat.
know what Hogue irrationally defends. It's these popcorn buckets.
This is what I was laughing at a few minutes ago.
Sigmeyer of Ains. God damn it. €5 super chat. What is this foul beast put in front of me? Begone, vile ape. You will not sully my splendor, which graces the kingdom of Ains. That is very specific and
gotta work with the profile photo.
He's got the picture of Diddy sitting in front of Sigmeyer.
Nice.
There. I fixed it.
Very good. So this is the same guy who's changing his account name and profile image every week, right?
It's quite good.
You don't know how many stalkers Ains has.
One. It's one.
It's probably one.
This is
I'd be
one.
surprised if there's one, honestly. Yeah. Very good though. Thank you for the laughs. Appreciate that. Be gone, vile ape. All right.
Vile ape.
Chartard.
No, I think that is I think it's Anyway, I think I get the joke. $2 super chat. How long do you think it will take Yote to hit PC? 1 year. 6 months to 1 year.
I was gonna go 9 months, so yeah.
Yeah. I think it's coming out in October. I'd say like late next summer. So 9-10 months.
That seems to be Sony's move, right?
They were at 1 year for a while, and they seem to be pushing that down.
I think they'll push it down.
Rockstar still stays at a year.
I'd be surprised if Rockstar hits a year, honestly. We'll see. But
you think it'll be more than a year before it goes to PC?
Yeah.
Because they've said that they release it a year after exclusively because of theft.
Yeah, piracy. They are petrified of piracy.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Every time they put out a game, it becomes the most pirated game of all time. Every single time.
And the best-selling game of all time. So
yeah. But maybe it's best-selling because they wait to put it on PC. I'm sure there's some people who buy it on both platforms too.
There's people that have bought that game like 8 times. Yeah. I mean, that's why Minecraft, like Minecraft's the same way. Yeah. I've bought 5 a few times for sure.
Yeah. You gotta.
Yeah, I'd say less than a year, but more than 6 months. So somewhere between 6 to 12 months for Yote is what I'm thinking. But I was thinking because Astrobot they haven't even announced yet, and that's going on 8 months already.
Astrobot, does that make sense to be on PC though, given what game it is?
See, why not? It's money.
It's money.
I think it'll be there eventually, but
imagine playing a game that's a celebration of PlayStation on your PC.
On PC?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe not. It's a good point. Shartar, thank you very much. Lucius is here.
Lucius Augustus, $2 super chat. I'm enjoying Donkey Kong, but I don't see Game of the Year personally.
It's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think there's a good discussion to be had there. As always, and I'm going to give you shit for this too, Lucius. Have you finished it? Nope. Meaning, let's finish the games before talking Game of the Year. So, but I agree with you. We'll talk about it here shortly. So, even though I love it, I think no, which is why I'm not commenting yet. But it's, I think, well, we'll get to it. We keep saying we're going to get to it in a minute. Just we got one more super chat. We'll get to it. Lucius, hold that.
We have a very generous audience today.
We do. Thank you very much, everyone.
Chartard, $2 super chat. As long as Rockstar is taking it.
As long as Rockstar is taking.
As long as Rockstar is taking, it might be day and date. Thank you for parsing that for me.
Day and date is not going to happen.
No.
It's not, but I think it's a joke.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is
taking a long time.
Yeah.
The PC release has always been not a matter of it being ready. It's just been a financial decision. It's a business decision to not put it on PC.
Yeah. And they will follow the money as they have done for the past decade plus. Or more, right? Chartar, thank you for the follow-up. Gregors is back. You guys are endless today. Appreciate you.
They don't want to talk Bonanza.
Yeah, we're not talking
hits me with 25 more. Zloty Played Bonanza for a few hours. A true Switch 2 game. Great playground, but optimization is icky. Also, not really challenging bosses.
Yeah. That's one of my. I have a few complaints. I'm not perfect on the game for sure. So again, we will get to it. I generally agree with this comment for sure. So, yep. And then Alex coming in with a super chat. Thank you, Gregor.
Alejandro Segovia, $1.99 super chat. Red Factionen, Gorilla, not game of the year. Better than an E33. That's Expedition 33. Blushing smiley face.
So it's also better than Expedition 33.
You may want to look at your N button, Alex.
Yeah. Or
well, I know
it's a little quirk he's got, a little tick. That's the way I was reading into it. Red Factionen, just that's the way he talks.
Yeah, Alex is about as high as you can get. This is going to shock everyone who knows Alex on Death Stranding 2. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be his game of the year. So, but Alex, thank you, my friend. Red Faction Gorilla is awesome, no doubt. All right, Googleman said maybe he's Finnish. The double ends. Well played, Googleman. All right, let's get to some games finally here. So let's talk Bonanza so we can kind of cover some of the commentary here. So I'm actually going to pass this off first, but obviously we've been talking about Bonanza releasing. We've been talking about it kind of being the Nintendo's big launch game that was a month after launch. The Mario Odyssey team, everything we've kind of said in the prior weeks. As I've said from the start, I was incredibly hyped for this game. It looked like the perfect kind of 3D platformer for me personally. And I have played it almost exclusively since getting it. I have a lot of time already in this game for me. So I think I'm on world or sublayer. I'm on sublayer 5, where you get to choose between going to forest or ice world. It kind of splits. And so I chose ice world. That's where I'm at right now. I have 200. No, I have 100 and I nearly have 200 bananas so far. And I looked up yesterday, I'm not realizing how big this game was. There are 777 bananas in the game. Never mind another 120 records and several hundred fossils as well. So anyway, Travis, you said you haven't played it, so we'll pause on your thoughts unless you have questions for us, because you're going to be our Destiny guy today. And Hogue, you said I think you're going to be the curmudgeon on Bonanza. So hit me with your curmudgeonness.
I'm on layer 1200, which is really layer 12. But yes, the best thing I can say about it, it is as grand as you would want from the Nintendo 3D platformer space. Like, you couldn't tell when it was announced that it was going to be this big Mario Odyssey sized thing. It's probably bigger, honestly, than Odyssey is. And that is one of its best features. I did not immediately connect with this game. It's asking you to do different things than Mario Odyssey did, than other Mario 3D platformers did. And the thing that I didn't connect with most is it's this kind of combination of elements of, I've been in this space before. I know you've heard me talk about it before, of this kind of organic puzzle solving environmental traversal system that Tears of the Kingdom kind of falls into, that Breath of the Wild did a little bit, but not as much as Tears. That's baked into the recipe for this design. And I really hate it. Like, I really hate this design philosophy of, okay, it's all going to be organic. We're going to have like ice drop from a bucket, and you're going to have to dig a tunnel through. And if the ice doesn't drop in the right way because it's hitting on this little voxel edge, then, oh, I guess that's too bad. But you can try it again the next time, and maybe it'll work this time because it's all organic and nothing is set. I hate that system. Reviewers, critics, fans appear to love that right now, right? Nintendo has moved basically all of their game designs into that approach of this wide open space of, we're going to give you kind of systems and you're going to deal with everything creatively, as they say, and you hope it works out. The entire game is that, right? So everything I complained about in Tears of the Kingdom, of those puzzle shrines that I don't like with that organic nature, the whole game is that, based on this kind of destruction quality of digging through holes and picking up rocks and things that I don't think works as well as I hoped, right? When they first came out and said that this was all voxels, I have memories of the previous attempts at people using voxel technology to make something like this where you can deform the terrain and go through all these things. There are elements of it being cool, and certain levels gel better than others, but it has that kind of constant, well, nothing is real effect when you're playing this game. Like if you knock down the bottom of a pillar, because it's all voxels, because it's not physics-based, the top half of the pillar will just hover in midair, and it'll have a big kind of bite mark out of it where your punch landed, because that's how they're doing these graphics. It just doesn't work for me so well. It takes away some of the excitement of destruction. It's not Red Faction Gorilla, because Red Faction Gorilla, the original Gorilla, spelled like the revolutionaries on Mars, has the physics-based destruction where you take down the engineering pillars of a giant refinery and have it crash in a satisfying way. That wouldn't happen here. There's no physics operating on these things. It's all just graphical tricks. So I like it. There are elements of it that work really well as you go through the game. But one, it isn't as precise and as clean as I like out of a 3D platformer. Notably, Astrobot controls a lot better than Donkey Kong Bonanza does. Donkey Kong Bonanza has areas where it requires precision, where it demands precision of you, and it's really not got a control scheme that gives you that precision. For the most part, Donkey Kong assumes that you want to climb whatever it is that you touch, you want to jump over whatever it is that you come near, and that doesn't work with some of the stuff that they ask you in challenge rooms. It doesn't work with some of the boss things that they ask you to do. And then the biggest sin on this, to me, is that I said it's grand and it's large, and that's fantastic, and it is. But they wind up repeating a lot of elements, a lot of bosses, a lot of characters. They wind up repeating a lot of things for no real reason other than to be bigger. And I don't love that. Now, that's the downside. The upside is that they figured out a lot of cool ways to use what they're doing here. You wind up manipulating things like sound and light with the environment. They have different textures and things that you are going to wind up picking up and doing different things with. And there are some really cool things that happen there. But overall, end of the day, it's not gelling with me so much because I don't love the main conceit being destructible terrain. And I don't love kind of the tone and vibe that this thing has. I already described it leaning on a lot of the Zelda Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom stuff. But tonally, it's closest to Splatoon, which I never would have figured for a Donkey Kong game. Honestly, we've had Donkey Kong Country be the baseline for our Donkey Kong experience for so long now that I'm used to that kind of feel of Donkey Kong, of jungle beats and that kind of game environment, that kind of universe. And instead, it's all nonsense songs. Like it all sounds like Star Wars Cantina music because nobody's saying anything except maybe Zebra over and over again. And so it's all nonsense songs. It's all these kinds of weird outfits. Only now they have stats that are adjusted. Like Odyssey, you just pick up new clothes and they just, oh, okay, I want to look like a sailor now. Whatever it is, that's fine. That's cosmetics. Now they have stats associated with them, which is a Splatoon concept. But you get into that same area that other games have long since solved, which is, all right, I don't really want to look like that, but my stats are better. So I guess I better use it for this purpose. Now, the game isn't hard enough to really require you to min-max that way, but I hate being forced into thinking about that at all. And the way most games solve this is when you buy something, when you have a cosmetic ability, we will give you a transmutation concept that says you can have the stats. Yeah, you can have the stats and you can look however you want. This game doesn't do that. There are a number of areas in this game that are like that, where it's Nintendo being weird for a solved position that they just decide not to do for reasons that are only understandable by them. There's whole portions of the economy, the banana chip system, that I don't think work in the game. So you wind up picking up a lot of stuff that just feels pointless. And I hate that in a collectathon. But overall, it is tremendously cool to be able to go and dig everywhere and get gold and get these bananas and use your radar hands to go see things that are underground and then realize that there's a whole underground section and that kind of stuff. That concept of kind of discovering secret caves and hidden treasure, that never really goes away. That's the strongest part of the game. But I am not sitting here saying this is a game of the year. This isn't probably not going to wind up in my top 5. And again, I haven't beaten it, so I'm not putting it in a specific place either. But it's not realistically very close to me experientially with the other things that I have played this year. So wanted to love it. I like it. I think it's good. It is not this 10 out of 10 blow your mind type game for me.
Okay. Now that you got your curmudgeonness out of the way, no,
That's what
I'm kidding.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I really did not want to be here with that. Right. I had enough fun with Expedition 33. Really love being that person that people still message me on. So thank you, everyone, for taking an interest in my opinions on these things. But didn't really want to wind up there with this game. But if I have any value at all, it is to be honest about my feelings on these things. And I think it is a weird vibe that Splatoon music and these kind of garish environments give you for a Donkey Kong game. And yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't think this will surprise anyone. Just given our commentary to this point, I'm definitely a lot higher on it than you.
I anticipate.
So I love this game so far. I've played it a lot. For me, as I always say, Hogue, I don't know where you get the time. I have played this game every day for hours, and I'm on level
Thursday
5. So yeah, you're further than me. And there were some early comments. I don't know how many total levels there are. Someone, I think, who has beat it, commented earlier that the back half of the game is even better. I don't know what that means because I already
think the back
love
half
it.
is stronger. Yes.
Okay. So kind of like you, I started playing it and I was enamored out of the gate. And then I'd say maybe 5 to 10 hours in or so, I was like, okay, let's see if this expands. It starts to get a little repetitive, even though I was still having a lot of fun. And then I've kind of curved back up on it. So I would say the negatives for me are some of the we already mentioned, is that there's no challenge here, especially for me, who I like complicated games. We've talked about this, so it's very base level challenge. Even the challenge levels and the extra things they have in the game for platforming, bosses, fights, and stuff, they're very easy. So I don't really ever worry about dying. And it is a collectathon. So, for me, obviously, I've talked about Banjo a whole lot and kind of talking to the whimsical NPCs in the world, and then just going back into the world and finding every level has a certain number of things you have to collect and find. And the world, each sub-layer, if you will, has little things within it that can refine the level or adjust the level, and certain things you can unlock and find. And so I love that. Those are my types of games. I can always recommend Bang on Balls if you need me to do that again. But
it's got a lot of that vibe.
Yeah, and I love that. So that's for me. So if you think about this game, Hogue's right in a sense. It's kind of like a mashup. It's like elements of modern Nintendo design in different ways in this kind of big open spaces with the destructibility. I will say the one thing that really clicks with me is when you're smashing through walls or going through the ground. It's very fluid and it's just fun. Like, I have not gotten tired of just like creating my own ways to get to things, the radar system, and just digging through and falling through holes or finding secret places. Like, I love that. So it's my type of game in that vein. It's also beautiful. Like, playing it on the OLED. I know you're not a huge fan of the design itself, Hogue, but for me, like, I like Donkey Kong's design. I think it's whimsical and it's kind of funny and goofy, which I enjoy. Super, super colorful. Like, playing it on the OLED, like, I'm really impressed at how beautiful it looks at times, just from a cartoony standpoint.
I think Donkey Kong turned out fine. I do think the environments are garish. I think there's a lot of clashing colors. I do not think it's an attractive game to look at for the most part.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with the clashing thing. It's it's in your face for sure, but I don't mind that. I like it. For this type of game, obviously, if this were a different type of game, it'd bother me, but for this type of game, it doesn't bother me. So I'm very, very high on it. I think I would have liked a little more complex, and maybe it comes later. It sounded like it doesn't, though, Hogue, from your comments.
Well, I mentioned the repeating bosses, right? So there'll be versions of the bosses that give you what appears to be the full option stack, the full number of things that it could do that they were holding back on the first time. So they do get a little bit more complicated, but I do think the game is easy. Nintendo 3D platformers tend to be on the easy side of things. I think these bosses in particular are more complicated and more interesting than Odyssey and prior efforts by Nintendo.
Odyssey was pretty poor in that regard. Yeah, I love Odyssey.
Absolutely it was. I loved Odyssey too, but the bosses are, you get the one pattern and you hit it 3 times and they're done. And these are more than that, although a number of the bosses seem to be straight out of like the Splatoon single player.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, I'm loving the heck out of it when I'm not. It's one of those games when I'm not playing it, I want to be playing it, and so that's always a good sign for me because I play so many games, especially spend so much time multiplayer. That's pretty rare from a single player perspective. So I don't know where it's going to land on the all up kind of game of the year conversation for me. It's pretty high. I joked that it's taken second place for me right now behind. I don't think anything's going to top Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for me, but yeah, I could see if this continues to be as fun as it is for me, and it's now as big and as long as I think, or as I've heard, and it gets even deeper as it goes, this will probably end up being number 2, of course, with games to come in the second half of the year. But yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. It's pretty much what I wanted and expected out of the game. I see some of the things around like would have been cool to have more of the country type vibe to it. Would have been cool to have a little more complexity in what you're doing on the levels. I would have appreciated that. But the game itself, I'm having a blast. So
yeah, the Donkey Kong Country vibe, I think, is what's missing most predominantly. Like they try to put zebras and ostriches and various African savanna animals in places underground. But it all feels kind of ridiculous. It all feels more like a Mario adventure, this kind of esoteric, dreamlike journey that is not what I think of when I think of Donkey Kong Country. And you don't have to just make Donkey Kong countries, and by God, you don't have to just make Marios. You can put Donkey Kong in there and have him blast through all the terrain. But it doesn't feel much like the Donkey Kong type games that we have been sold for so long that it's notable to me that it feels very different.
Yeah. But no, great game. I think that it is, it seems to be most of the people I'm talking to about it are kind of having a lot of fun. It's obviously critically very highly regarded. I think it's sitting at a 91. IGN, Logan gave it a 10. At this point in time, again, I'm still too early to judge it, but I don't think it's not in the 10 realm for me.
No.
But I think it is very, very good. So I'm loving it. I'll continue to play it. I'm happy we got it, and we'll see. We'll see how I end up on it. Someone said there are 17. I think in the comments there's 17 sub layers. I think
the layers are just layers. The sub layers are the levels around the layers. Saints.
Yes. Okay. 17 layers.
Layers or layers.
Layers. Layers.
You're going underground. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, what happens is Travis
core.
There's like you get your main layer, right, and then there's like sub layers like as part of that layer. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the sub levels within the level.
Exactly.
And it's good. But yeah, I will say the first time, like I just love, we don't get a lot of big open 3D platformers. Like I loved Astrobot. I've 100%ed Astrobot last year, but the levels are still confined. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I prefer big open spaces like the Banjo gives. That's what they did so well back in the day. Bonanza gives me that. It's like you set out, there's a vista, and there's just all this stuff in every direction. And it's like, okay, go have fun. It's your playground. I love that. That's my type of thing. So that's probably why I'm liking it so much. All right. That's Bonanza. Let us know what you think. I'll put a poll up on the SG side to let for the people who are playing Bonanza. Let us know what you're thinking of it so far. We'll get a super chat here before we jump in.
Make sure to vote as well.
Just don't make the poll. How much does Rick suck?
No.
I would love that to be the poll.
All right, I'm on it. Don with a super chat here as we get ready to talk Destiny.
Don Leinhart, $5 super chat. Good morning, gorillas. Glad to see many people loving / liking Bonanza. Infinite Wealth continues here. Not sure what's next. Excited for Mafia soon. Palm tree.
Yes, it's not far away.
I would say Mafia's next if you're not done with Infinite Wealth yet, Don.
Yeah.
Gonna go straight from one criminal organization to the other.
Nice, Don. Thank you very much. He was traveling this weekend back in Florida, so thank you. Keep up the Infinite Wealth, and prepare for Mafia. All right. Appreciate
prepare
that,
for Mafia just sounds like a mission that you get in a game.
All right, I'll get working on that poll. Travis, I'm going to let you finally speak here after our Bonanza discussion on Destiny, The Edge of Fate. So the latest story expansion is out for Destiny 2. I stopped playing Destiny a long time ago. I know you're deep into this space. So the SG guys, from what I've seen, are kind of what we've seen so far is didn't seem to be as high on it as maybe other expansions. I think that apparently it's selling well, but the concurrent player count on Steam is far below what recent other Destiny expansion have landed at. I don't know what's going on in the space. Talk to us.
Okay. Well, I should clarify that my Destiny life has been pretty minimal for a while now. I used to play all of the seasonal content and stuff. That is no longer a thing. I basically just play the game when I do reviews, which is the case in this one. I think I played like a very small amount of the seasonal content, but I basically have hung my hat up on the Destiny franchise. And we were in fact not planning to do a review this year. The last 2 years of reviews at IGN, I basically convinced them to do, despite the fact that numbers on those reviews are always pretty bad. And this year we were going to skip it because I have 3 reviews in 2 weeks. However, one of my reviews ended a little early, and so I decided to take this on. I am reviewing this game, Edge of Fate. So I say all that to let you know that I'm a little out of the loop. I haven't been reading all the This Week at Destiny, This Week in Destiny, the TWIDs as they're now called, posts over the months, and I also wasn't planning on playing Edge of Fate really until earlier this week when I was given a little bit more time to do this. So from that perspective, I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I think the stuff I've seen online of Destiny, like tried and true players saying this is the worst expansion ever and stuff like that, like I'm seeing a lot of like hyperbole, I think is just not correct. We've had some really, really profoundly bad Destiny releases, and I would not put this up there, at least in the content department. But there are some things that are pretty troubling, and we can go into them. So let's talk about the story and the campaign. So first, the story. If you are familiar with where Destiny is right now, it's sort of in this weird post-endgame MCU type situation where its main story is over and it's kind of unclear what they're going to do. Bungie has placed their bet. They've kind of told us this is what we want, where we want to go. They have a new story with some new villains, kinda, and stuff like that. The story is pretty good in the campaign, and if you are somebody who really understands Destiny lore. If you're not, which is the vast majority of people, including a lot of people who play Destiny, by the way, it's probably overwritten. It's got like 30 straight minutes of like unbearable info dump, from the old silver age of sci-fi. It's kind of got like that, like, here, let's explain the mechanics of how this stuff you don't care about works. They're still trying to make it seem like any of this makes any sense, which is really, really hard to bear. But once you get past that, it's got some cool story moments with characters. They introduce a new character who's pretty compelling and really well voice acted. And then they even give some lore on some really unexpected lore and cutscene on some like long-standing Destiny characters that was cool to see. So the story, I think, is pretty much a mixed bag. Like, it's got some good parts in it, some not good parts in it. What people seem to be really upset about the campaign with is the fact that they introduce new mechanics that aren't shooting people in the face. I myself don't think that that's such a bad thing, but Destiny fans are really not open to that sort of stuff. And so they add like these interesting abilities that require you to solve puzzles. So you can turn into a little ball like you're playing a Metroid game and roll through little tunnels, and you use that to squeeze yourself into tight spaces, and you like solve puzzles during boss fights using it. And then you also have these other powers where you can like transform the way objects are existing in the environment. So there could be like an area that's blocked and you use your ability on it, and then it like reorganizes them into a flight of stairs and stuff like that. And there are a few powers like that that are kind of very new for the Destiny world to add like a little bit of puzzles to the game. They're not perfectly executed. I think we all know at this point Bungie is like a shooter first company, and so seeing them try this stuff, you're not going to get it quite as tight as like a Nintendo game or whatever, where they're used to mechanics like that. But it is them trying new stuff to make the gameplay feel less like something we've been playing for over a decade. And I applaud that, even if they didn't 100% nail it all the time. I think it's a cool addition. And I think the Destiny fans who are upset at this addition are they're just Destiny players. Like, they want one thing and one thing only. They want to turn their brain off. And I am not in that group. I do not consider myself part of that faction that thinks that Destiny should just be a game where you shoot the same aliens in the head for 10 plus years. That's just not what I think is going to make Destiny successful going forward. And then around that, all of the stuff that people are really upset about, which I do think is more justified, is the actual like meta of the game. They made some changes in this game to sort of soft reboot loot and progression and power and the way armor tiers and weapon tiers work. I think the reboot is very interesting. It makes armor sets way more interesting. It makes weapons and kind of the clarity on how powerful a weapon is a lot more clear, because they're now categorized based on how powerful they are into weapon and armor tiers, which I think is an interesting change. However, the way they decided to let you get these higher tiers is by making you grind the same activities that you've been playing for over a decade ad nauseum for hours. So that is not great. And I think people are really upset at that. It's like, all right, you've got this new system where I can get different tiers of items, but in order to get those different tiers, I have to play the same strikes and group activities that I've been playing for the entirety of Destiny 2's runtime. And that feels really bad. And so it's like a cool system locked behind one of the worst grinds I've ever seen. And then yesterday was the raid, which is the kind of final part I'll talk about. I have not played the raid. I was still finishing the game yesterday, and the campaign and side quests and all that. So I haven't really checked that out. However, the feedback online is that the contest mode, which is a more difficult version of the raid, was basically a matter of DPS checks that were completely unrealistic. This is something Bungie has done in the past when they haven't been able to make a raid difficult. They have just arbitrarily increased the DPS you're required to do on the boss, which makes it basically unplayable for anybody except for the top 0.01% of streamers, which is exactly what happened yesterday. There's also a lot of like community excitement when a raid goes around, because streamers are streaming what they're playing, and so even if you're not participating, you're getting to watch it. However, in recent years, these contests have become so competitive that people turn off their streams and they just show their players and they don't show the gameplay, and they'll play like cat videos or whatever instead of their stream. And this makes raid races really boring to watch, because no one wants to show their gameplay because they're afraid of stream snipers that are going in and like stealing their tactics. And so it's this really odd thing where it's like, okay, well, we used to have this fun thing where we all got to watch these people compete, and now all the people at the top tier don't show their footage because they are such tryhards that they're subverting their role as a streamer to help their role as a competitor in this raid race. And so a lot of the raid I haven't seen, because I was looking at top streams yesterday just to check out the aesthetic, see what I'm in for, since I now am committed to doing this raid because I'm doing the review. And I didn't really get much out of it because people weren't showing their gameplay. And so I don't really have a ton of comments on the raid yet because I have not played it, but the overall kind of animosity was that it was a bad race, and the people who were participating in it felt like it was arbitrarily made more difficult than it should have been, which is absolutely something Bungie would do and has done in the past. So I have no trouble believing that. However, I'm not going to be playing the contest mode version of the raid. I'm going to be playing the normal version, which unlocked now that the raid race is over. And I'll, be able to see it with hopefully different eyes, and we'll see if that DPS problem is a problem on the regular version. I suspect it is not, and so then I'll be able to evaluate the raid, I think, a little bit more fairly. That's all the stuff that's going on with Destiny. Again, I'm sort of more out of the loop than I usually am, but you hop into Destiny, it's like riding a bike. I fell into it pretty quickly, easily, and I think Bungie is taking some chances and trying different things, which I think they absolutely have to do if they want Destiny to continue to be a thing. I don't know that all of the chances that they took are going to pay off or hit with the community, but I am glad that they are taking them. I think that is the right call. And that's my impression overall. I don't think it's the worst expansion Destiny's ever made, but Lightfall's probably the worst one. There's a good argument for Curse of Osiris. But yeah, it's certainly not the worst expansion Destiny's ever made, but I also don't think it's anywhere near the quality of the Final Shape. It's definitely not. I mean, that much is clear. It's certainly a step down, a few steps down, probably. So my review's not done yet. Still got to go through edits. Still got to play the raid. But right now I'm sitting at probably like a 6. It's okay. It's okay. If you like Destiny, it's more of that. If you don't like Destiny, don't play this game. It's definitely not going to change your mind if you weren't already a Destiny fan. So that's where I'm at.
What you mentioned that it is campaign story expansion, right? So if you go in and you just want to play through the new content, what kind of time are you looking at investment there?
The new campaign is probably like 8 hours. Okay. It's a little longer. A lot of it is padding, but the beats come like, I'm impressed with it just from a Destiny perspective because Destiny has so consistently had bad stories. And when they do have good ones, it's like pretty shocking. You're like, oh, they actually did it this time. But this one is like, all right, well, where everything else isn't that great, like the story, it's like, okay, they did some stuff. So like every 3 or 4 missions, you get like a nice cutscene that changes and recontextualizes stuff. And it just has all the right beats. You're like, okay, it's getting there. It's got a nice final reveal with a twist. You're like, okay, cool. They're doing some stuff. That said, it is completely dipped and battered in the most insane sci-fi gobbledygook that has ever existed. And it is like so hard to sit through that when they're talking about, well, actually dark matter is different from the darkness, and here's how time manipulation works, and you're just like, I cannot possibly care about anything you guys are saying right now. So they make it very difficult, but if you sit through that, it goes places.
Okay, so I figure it can't be worse than the Cloud people.
Oh no. That is next level bad. And there's some people saying like, oh yeah, this is the worst it's ever. I'm like, dude, Lightfall wasn't even that long ago, and it's like obviously worse. So I think there are some Destiny players who value very different things than normal gamers. Hogue, like, for example, a Destiny player might not care about any of the terrible storytelling or mission design in Neomuna with Lightfall, but Lightfall had a new subclass, right? A new elemental type with all these different powers. And so to them, that's all they care about. And they're happy. And they look at this expansion and they go, oh, well, there's no new factions. There's no new powers. And so it's the worst expansion ever because it's not like actively changing the sandbox. And it's adding this new grind and making all of their old weapons and armor invalid yet again. And so they're upset about the things that only Destiny players care about and not about the things that like regular gamers care about. And so I get where they're coming from, but I think they're very, very out of touch with what a good game is like, which happens when you play Destiny. You can forget what good games are like.
I know we've talked about it a bit, but I don't want to stay on Destiny forever here, but I'm confused, and maybe I'm not alone, but from the outside looking in, we're still on Destiny 2, right? Correct. So we remember when they did the Destiny 2 launch and reset and all that stuff, and then they've come this full arc, they've come full circle, they finished that journey, but now they're expanding on top of, to your point, past Endgame, right? In Destiny 2. And it just feels, at least again, outside looking at, I don't know anything about the Destiny story and current state. Feels like they don't really know where to go with it. Like, are they going to make a Destiny 3? Or is Destiny just going to be Destiny 2 moniker forever, and they're just going to keep adding?
That's sort of the idea. Honestly, Bungie never wanted to make Destiny 2. They wanted to just keep expanding on Destiny. The only reason Destiny 2 happened is because of the Activision partnership, and there were various powers at play that were pushing them toward it. And so as soon as that relationship ended, I think their plan was always to keep it as Destiny 2. That said, I think they're probably maybe reconsidering after Final Shape when they've seen the player base get older and start to dwindle, and they probably need a shot in the arm. There's also a certain number of people who are just like, yeah, I'm done with Destiny 2. I'll wait until 3 comes out, not knowing that 3 is probably never going to happen. But I think at this point, if they're considering a Destiny 3, they didn't start it until recently, and that the idea that it's ever going to come out before Bungie's fate as a studio is decided one way or another with Marathon and Destiny expansions coming out, I think is probably a far cry. And so I don't really see Destiny 3 happening at this point. I think there was a time where maybe it was on the table, but maybe it's something that Bungie thinks could happen, but I don't think they wanted it. I don't think that they would have made Destiny 2 if they had the choice. And so that's where the game's at. There's a time where I was like hardcore in the camp of like, they've got to make a 3. I still think it probably would be the best choice for the overall health of the game. Just because there's some people who will never come back to a game called Destiny 2. They're just waiting for the sequel. That's how their brains work. But I think we're past the point where that's feasible for Bungie as a studio.
I know we've talked about it at length with Marathon and everything earlier this year, but definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with Bungie over the next year or two.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this, and I probably will not say any of them publicly, but maybe years from now, I might write about it, because there's a lot going on with that studio, and I'm not really the type to talk about that stuff, but maybe someday down the line, when it is not immediately relevant to people's lives, I will talk about what's going on with the Bungie studio, because it is pretty eye-opening.
Well, I guess like I said, it seems like the response to the Edge of Fate has been mixed, I guess would be the best way to say it.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
At least it sounds like the campaign was decent.
I think the campaign was decent, but even the campaign is mixed, because there's people who really don't like the idea that we're going to add puzzle mechanics to our shooter. So it's just mixed overall. And I'm sort of in the, it's okay. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just kind of, it exists, which really is, I mean, you could put that on the box art for Destiny.
It's the 10.
The 10, yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
As we all know, video game cases are made out of 10.
I don't even know what cases you're getting, man. Mine are all just beamed to my console.
That's right.
It's terrible.
As the good Lord intended.
No. Just throwing your money away.
We're all throwing our money away.
I can't say much else. So Travis and I are both playing but cannot talk about yet Grounded 2.
Yeah.
And so Travis, you're reviewing that for IGN. I recruited Mariano Pampa, who is a big Mariano. I can't say it as cool as he can. But I recruited him for helping with Grounded 2 for SG, because he's a gigantic Grounded fan. So you can stay tuned. I think we'll be able to talk about, I don't even know.
It's July 29th, so it is more than a week from today. I actually have 3 games I can talk about on July 29th. Tales of the Shire, Grounded 2, and a third game I don't think I'm allowed to mention, but I'm going to have a big embargo day on that day, because I'm done with all those games. They just had really long lead times, which I'm a huge fan of.
It's been nice. Yeah. So sorry, don't have much else. There is another game I can't even mention, yet that I will talk about next week pretty extensively. I'm excited about that one. So other than that, it's really just been Bonanza, and I know Travis has been wrapped up in his reviews too. So it's time for the show, Hogue, of Hogue's notes, in case you've got anything else that you would like to mention this week.
Oh my God, we're just now getting to Hogue's notes. Holy
we kind of went around the horn. We put it.
I mean, it's pretty much our full show this week is really.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of things that I wanted to call out. Because we've mentioned them in this space, I did buy a copy of the Pac-Man Metroidvania Shadow Labyrinth.
Yes.
Nice.
It is not grand on first impression.
Also nice.
It feels a little bit like, I don't know, free art assets were kind of pieced together to make this game. I wish it was a better feeling thing from the outset. I'm going to keep going with it. I haven't played it a ton. But that game is out if you're interested in the dark fantasy lore of a science fiction Pac-Man.
I mean, who isn't? Come on.
It's weird. It's a weird premise. I'm not sure the game came together as well as the premise did in terms of weirdness. So hold on that, but it's out.
Yeah, I saw this one. Don't have anything to say. I was just pulling it up on OpenCritic. So sitting at a 75, so mid sevens isn't bad, but only half of critics recommend it, which in and of itself is kind of odd with those two comparisons. But anyway, yes, it seems to be kind of okay to goodish.
It's one of those games you turn it on, you start playing it, and you immediately are like, I'm not positive that this got the full kind of review pass. Like, it's Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, there's going to be a certain amount of polish on it. It feels more like the solo indie dev or the 3-person team that dropped something on Steam, and it's mildly cool, but you can see where the steps were skipped, right? And so I can't recommend it myself, honestly, yet, but I was intrigued by the concept, and I will be playing it more. One thing I can recommend that I really have enjoyed so far is System Shock 2, which was a game that I loved back in the day. This is the 25th anniversary edition, if you can believe it. But Shodan is one of the best villains in gaming history. I will stand by that. And this remaster, which is not a remake, like there was a System Shock remake, basically, I think a year or two ago.
Last year.
That had a new engine and had an entirely new look to it. This is much closer to that kind of remaster that makes it work on a modern system. It's higher res, it's faster frame rates, that kind of thing. But it's a tremendous game, and they figured out how to make it remotely accessible to a person playing with a controller. System Shock 2 was a PC gamer's PC game back in the day. Uses a whole bunch of what we would consider now kind of junky inventory systems and a bunch of things that don't make any sense for a modern sensibility. They kept all of it. It's fantastic. But they also figured out a way for a controller to operate through it. And I think they did a good job. Okay. And System Shock 2, for folks that haven't played this, is the progenitor of BioShock. This is really where most of the ideas of BioShock came from. It has that density of story. If you're at all interested in that kind of thing, the System Shock 2 project turned out really well. Really like that game. So, wanted to mention System Shock 2, wanted to mention Shadow Labyrinth. I'm also replaying the visual novel escape room series AI, the Somnium Files, because the third game in that trilogy comes out this week. Helpfully not named AI or the Somnium Files. It's just called No Sleep for Kaname Date. But that comes out this week. Really excited about that one. This is from the maker, I believe, of the Zero Escape series. That's 999 and some other nonsense words that I can't actually remember in a row. But I like that trilogy a lot. AI is not quite as good as that is, but I'm excited about a new entry in the series. So I'm re-going through some of those that I haven't played in a little while yet. And I am looking forward to that. Those are my Hogue's notes right now.
Cool.
System Shock 2 is the big winner there. Go get it.
Nice. Yeah, I saw a lot of the PR emails and stuff about it. I was like, and I've never played through System Shock 2, even though I love BioShock and the BioShock trilogy. So
you might like BioShock less after System Shock 2. I mean, it's the edges are smoothed significantly to get to BioShock.
Sure. So there's probably pluses and negatives to that, I would assume, but I could be wrong.
It's a denser, more complicated, and frankly more interesting story in System Shock 2.
Okay. Yeah, I thought about going to it. It's just, as always, the usual answer is time. But cool, very cool. All right. So let's see here. Really, a couple other topics we want to talk about today. The news, generally speaking, was rather light. So, I found this one a little weird. We've talked a lot about Ubisoft and where they're going. So through an investor call, they kind of revealed that they have a new Ghost Recon, or Tom Clancy, right? FPS in development. And so the only reason I wanted to bring this up is because we don't really have any information on it. But I started thinking about just Ubisoft over the past few years, right? So obviously Division 3 is in development. We don't know at what stage of development. I have to think it's still pretty early, but we know that's in development. Meanwhile, X Defiant, which was a Tom Clancy FPS competitive shooter aimed at the Call of Duty crowd, was canceled, right? And you can no longer even play it. It's gone. And the old Call of Duty lead, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name, who led that game for Ubisoft, left the company. So that's gone now. We've talked about Splinter Cell an awful lot, but I find it kind of interesting when you think about, okay, Ghost Recon is a name they lean on quite a bit. FPS is in development. What does that look like in modern Ubisoft? I'm kind of struggling to think they're going to release a single player FPS that's like 10 hours, 15 hours long for $70, $80 in Ubisoft terms in 2026, 7, 8. I just, Ubisoft is in a weird place. We've talked about that, and I don't understand a Ghost Recon FPS being that thing that's going to really help them a lot. Am I missing something here?
I don't think you are. I do know, because I saw this on my social media feed earlier, because I'm still on Twitter with Dan Rodriguez, formerly of the Bitcast.
Yes.
And he has some thoughts that I can relay here from his public Twitter.
Nice.
When the rumors came out that this was going to be a first-person Ghost Recon game, he says there is a good-sized community for this game, and I will tell you that most of them don't want this. A Wildlands sequel would have been perfect. Going back to first-person and taking cues from Call of Duty is going to kill it, just like Breakpoint did when they made it a looter shooter. So Dan has put in his hundreds of hours into this series.
He has.
And I think he's dead on with this. I think that Ubisoft right now is in a cycle of chasing trends. We see this with other publishers throughout video gaming history. And I think Ghost Recon should be hammering out its own place in the military shooter genre. And if they go to a first-person Ghost Recon game, they're going to have to bake in some Ubi bucks, as you suggest. They're going to have to do some things that people are not going to love out of that anyway. And I don't see this, just from the rumors as described, as a big win. But I don't play Ghost Recon as much as Dan. I don't play Ghost Recon as much as probably a lot of other people in the world. So maybe it'll work.
I don't know, man. I think, we also saw this week that, they talked about the less than stellar sales of Star Wars Outlaws. Shadows presumably did quite well, but as we talked earlier this year, it was never going to do as well as Ubisoft needed it to do, in theory. And we're just sitting in a place with Ubisoft right now. They didn't do a forward this summer, right? They have, I think, Anno, is it, coming later this year, if I recall correctly?
They do, but Annos are awesome, but they don't move the needle.
Yeah, that's a niche kind of game. And so I'm just thinking, okay, Ubisoft has, as we've talked about, a tremendous amount of staff, right? Gigantic company in the gaming space. What do they have that we're looking forward to at this point?
Just Dance.
Just Dance, still coming out for the Wii. But Division 3, like I said, is development. But Division 3, I'm hugely excited for, if they do it well. Of course, there's a big caveat there. But it's just, I don't know. It just seems weird. Ubisoft seems to be in a weird place. So
they definitely are. I mean, they just spun off that new company with the 10-cent bucks, and we just got the news item. I think it was this week that the shareholders had placed Yves' son as co-CEO of that entity.
That is correct.
So the Guillemonts, as I have said in this space and others, they are the real gangsters of the video game community. They can keep their family safe from all manner of stuff. And that appears to be what's happening here. 10 cents on board. Presumably that means that they will make sure that there is a successful development process from new Ubi. But even the mighty multinational Chinese conglomerate can make mistakes. So we'll see. There's a whole bunch of weird news coming out of this company. There has been. I think they just finished some of their sexual harassment lawsuits.
I think a few people in Europe went to jail, right?
They got suspended sentences, I believe.
Okay. All right.
Significant suspended sentences, but
yeah, it's an odd one. So I guess we'll continue to wait and see what they produce. The other thing that we should see next week, if leaks are accurate here, is that one of the so if you don't know, Battlefield Labs has been giving access to play the new Battlefield game for the past few months or several months. And so, all that's under NDA, of course, in the sense of like any of the play sessions and stuff around it. But one of the EA creators, for whatever reason, I guess, leaked the care package that was sent to him that talked about a reveal and a formal reveal of Battlefield 6 next week. So the week of the 29th or the day of the 29th, excuse me, over a 3-day event. So I don't know if they're going to unveil maybe multiplayer and then campaign and other things, in that space. But I know you guys aren't big in this space. This is big for me because for obvious reasons we've talked about many times. This is my type of thing. Do either of you care at all about the new Battlefield game? Or am I talking to myself at this point?
I'll play it.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to play it. I am interested in whether or not they chase streamers. They chase the people that want to be able to do everything and be the hero player in this game. Because Battlefield, when it was really popular and when I liked it, was really this kind of combined fire
squad game.
People have different abilities kind of concept, almost in an MMO, the way we think about it now. And I think that these companies have often flattened their designs to be more attractive to streamers. Necessary in some parts for marketing, but often deleterious to the goodness of the video game experience for 99% of the audience. And so my hope is that they come out and show something that maybe streamers complain about at the start. That is something that looks a lot more like old school Battlefield. But I don't know. That's not the direction these companies are generally moving towards. So we'll see.
As the Hogue Whisperer, I will clarify the definition of the word deleterious for our audience, which means
little pretentious there. Little pretentious.
Causing harm or damage, which he could have said using a normal word, but he chose deleterious because he wants you to know he's one of the common people, which is why he raises his pinky when he drinks. So,
oh my God. But yeah, no, I generally do agree with you, Hogue. I think
pinky up.
Obviously
put it up, Hogue. Embrace who you really are. Embrace who you really are.
That down.
2042 is a good game now. It took a long time to get there, and it's still not what I would call one of the classic Battlefield experiences. And I agree with you, Hogue, in that when Battlefield's at its best, it's doing the squad shooter aesthetic, whether you're playing with friends, which is and getting a little ratchet, as we like to say around these parts, or you're just playing in a squad of people who have their roles that people kind of work together to accomplish tasks, and the obvious Battlefield chaos that ensues within that. So I hope they really do have some really high-level talent on this game. They've brought a lot in to try and bring Battlefield back to the forefront. Obviously, there's a big opportunity there in the market space, but whether or not they succeed, we'll see. So, yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Where I'm at with Battlefield, Ains, is I play some of them. As you know, I really like shooters, and I just haven't had any that have stolen my heart in a number of years, and so it's just sort of one of those. I'm waiting for the next good one, but yeah, 2042 was good much later than I played that game, when it was not relevant to me anymore. So
yes, yeah, it's good now. In parts, they I think the 128 player map size hurt it in ways. The terrible launch hurt it in many ways. And Battlefield 1 was, I would say, good. Battlefield 5 was okay.
Yeah, I played Battlefield 1 a little bit. I thought that one was okay. But yeah,
it was good.
I think the last one I played a lot of was Battlefield 4, and it's just been
4. 4 is a goat. Yeah, 4, 3, and not 1942. Bad Company 2. Excuse me.
Bad Company 2.
Bad Company 2 was goated. I mean, one of the best shooters all time. But yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited to see it. I really, really, really hope they do it well because I don't like Call of Duty. I think Battlefield in its prime is a much better shooter, but it hasn't been in its prime for a long time. So I hope we get that. We'll see. Obviously, the biggest rumor this week, which the one Hogue is most excited for, is that multiplayer21st.com, which is a pretty reputable site, spoke to some people that apparently the next major FromSoft game is very, very deep in development and should release next year. I think anyone who really knows FromSoft, this really shouldn't be that big of a surprise. They're very efficient in their development.
Pump out games, man. Japan studios in general, man. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, and I think, they've, with Night Rain and now Duskblood coming for the Switch 2, those are different experiences. Duskblood, yeah.
Oh, what is this? What's Duskblood?
What?
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't know this one.
Oh, it's exclusive FromSoft game for the Switch 2.
Duskblood.
That has, it looks like Bloodborne, but it is has some multiplayer elements in it. So, it could be interesting. Night Rain's a lot of fun. It's not what I would call, obviously, a traditional FromSoft experience that I love. But, yeah,
oh,
check
this
that out.
one, the vampire one. Okay. I remember this.
Anyway, this shouldn't really be a surprise. There are rumblings that this is a remake of Dark Souls 3, which I wouldn't be opposed to because I adore Dark Souls 3. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I've played through it several times, but I'd obviously much rather see whatever's next post Elden Ring, for FromSoft's mainline single player games. So I guess we'll see.
Why 3 remake?
Well, they've remastered Dark Souls 1. 2 got its special edition, which kind of fixed the frame rate and added the DLC. And 2's not their prime game anyway, right? So Bloodborne, I think, is the most wanted one, but Sony owns the IP, and no one really knows what's going on with that. So,
right.
I guess from a FromSoft perspective, I could see them doing. Demon Souls has already been remade, so
yeah, but they haven't done a remake of any of these games, and I would think that they would, except for Demon Souls, right? Like Dark Souls 1 could get a proper remake.
And Demon Souls was a Sony joint, right?
Yeah.
It was a collaboration of some form.
No, I know,
yeah.
but I mean the Demon Souls remake was paid for by Sony with Blue Point.
Yeah. And it is
correct.
It is an exclusive game. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes. Yeah, they could do a full remake of 1, which I think if they actually updated mechanics and kind of brought in some of the systems of like Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3 could be a lot of fun. But I personally I think Dark Souls 3 is a much better game than 1. So I'll take the remake at 3.
I don't know, man. It's standing on the shoulder of giants in that one. It's kind of hard to separate. I mean, it's it's better because it's an evolution, but 1, man, changed the industry.
1 absolutely changed the industry. I'd argue it changed the industry more than nearly any game in the last however many years, decade. But regardless, we'll see what Mr. Miyazaki, praise be, delivers to us next year. Should that game actually release next year? I mean, what else we got here? You want to mention this?
Duskblood? That's fun. A little Switch Souls-like game. That'll be interesting to see if that actually works.
Switch. I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Because how they struggle with frame rate performance. I can only imagine on the Switch how that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, like an idiot, I bought Night Rain on PS5 because I was like, I'll play it on my Pro. It'll be better. It doesn't have any Pro enhancement whatsoever. Like that's not FromSoft's thing. Yeah. I was like, I'll play it on PC. I'll play it wide and ultra wide. Nope.
You ask how they crank them out. That's part of it, right? Like one of the problems that the Western AAA publishers have gotten into is that they have just gotten into this escalating fight of texture resolutions and whatnot that the FromSofts of the world just opt out of.
They don't care about,
And once you get accepting of that being how those games look, then they don't have to meet this continually expanding standard.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I remember with Elden Ring, obviously, we've talked forever about that game, but as high praise it is, Miyazaki's comment on it was he's getting closer to his dream fantasy game with Elden Ring, but he's not there yet. So I would hope that their next major game single player major game. If they remake Souls 3, that's fine, whatever. But I'm really curious to see, obviously, what's next. So, Hogue, you want to mention this one? This kind of made waves this week. And I know you said you got pinged about it in virtual reality, virtual legality land. Was around the stuff with Steam and some of the credit card companies, and Valve having to go in and remove games so people can continue making purchases. You gave me all the context on this one because I wasn't paying much attention to it. Do you want to give your kind of couple minute spiel on this one?
Yeah, during the pre-show. For folks that don't know about this news item, this is the most asked question of me this week. And that is that the payment processors, the Visa and MasterCard, which if you don't know how the credit system work, are backed up by banks, are enforcing certain content rules against Steam as a platform for providing that content that has essentially made Steam remove certain games from their platform. And a lot of people have asked me to chime in on this. I might make a virtual legality about it soon. It's one of those things that I'm interested in. But the basic structure of this is that Steam has a blog post out there that says essentially, we think this is dumb. We want to allow everything. Remember pretty prominently that Steam stopped requiring ESRB rating specific requirements to be included on their store a while back. They got a certain amount of heat for that. But this is a continuing set of stories from folks that follow financial institutions in general of debanking or otherwise stripping the ability of places like a Patreon or others from allowing for certain content to be created using their platform. And there are a lot of questions around where this pressure is coming from, what these platforms can do about it. I haven't gone through all of the terms and various statutes that I would need to speak with specificity on this right this second. But I understand the concerns, and I do share them with respect to right this moment, like these things always start, the games that have been removed are the ones that are the least likely to be defended by people, right? You see this all the time in law, which is to say that when you have an action like this that is maybe not the best one, not the way you want society to move forward, you don't want Visa and MasterCard deciding what art you can consume, that kind of thing. You start with the stuff that people in general are not going to be willing to defend. So the stuff that's been removed from Steam right now are things like non-consensual sexual activity type games on Steam, other things that these groups have decided are not acceptable for the Steam platform. The issue that I have from an overall standpoint there is that there's a lot of crap in games that are not going to be defendable by a lot of people outside of games at a certain point, right? So yes, it's okay to say, all right, those are very bad things, Rick. They shouldn't be on Steam in the first place. Okay. But Steam was okay with it. The people that were selling it was okay with it. The people that were buying it were okay with it. They're not against the law. They're not illegal. Do we want Bank of America or Chase or Visa or MasterCard to come in and say, you're not allowed to have that art on your platform, especially when the next step might well be, something that you do want to have access to, whether it's something that's less offensive, still in the sexual category, whether you get into the violence category, which is where these things generally expand to, that's worthy of a conversation. And that's where I start to get worried about these things, because anybody that's ever followed these kinds of pressure campaigns or rules being imposed by a third party sees that gradually expand. And I want to have Steam out there being able to be a relatively neutral platform on these things, even if I think they could do a better job with curation and not be pressured by financial service providers who really shouldn't have any say in the art or art community that you otherwise consume. So I have an issue with this overall, but right this second, I can't speak with specificity on the legal matters. None of these things appear to be specifically related to a statute or other law that I have seen in the discussions that I have read through so far. But people have asked me a lot about it, so I did flag it for Ains as something that we should at least mention, because it is a big story, and it's a kind of story that can potentially get a lot bigger very quickly. So while you might look at this story and say, yeah, those are all garbage games, people shouldn't be playing them anyway, it's very easy for that to expand very quickly, and that's where I start to get my nose in it. That's where I start to get concerned.
Yeah, makes sense. So I guess the question would be, from your opinion, of course, what's the... I agree with you, first of all, in the sense of it is kind of cliche slippery slope, right? Because you don't want these companies deciding what we or anyone can, or Valve can put on their store for players to consume. But what would be the next step in Valve contesting this, right? Like, obviously, they're under a certain it's a challenge for them because they obviously need people to be able to buy their games, and that is the payment structure that's in place on Steam for obvious reasons. So where do those two things come together? Where
I mean, to be clear, how this works in practice is that Valve has acceded to this, or to skip Travis's segment where he complains about the word acceded, they've agreed to these specific requirements. They get rid of these things voluntarily. Under pressure, yes, but it's of their own accord. So Steam could have said no, and Visa and MasterCard could say, all right, well, we're not going to allow transactions on your platform. And Valve could at some point say, well, that's a heck of a lot of money. That's a lot of credit card fees. Why don't you talk to your shareholders about that, and we'll see how this all goes in the long run. And that's how these businesses kind of clash on these fronts. It's not a lawsuit. It's not a we're going to put you in jail, Gabe. It's not that kind of thing. It's more along the lines of we're going to pull the ability for your users to pay you money. That's obviously going to be a problem for you. And if you're big enough, you can say, well, that's going to be a problem for you too. And it's going to be a problem for the people that back you up and the banks that are otherwise supporting you. It's going to be a problem for a lot of people if you wind up just pulling this access. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Steam didn't feel like they had the leverage, or Steam didn't care enough to push the leverage. You never know how these things are happening in the back rooms of these kinds of questions, but it is an interesting one. The other way to get around this is that you could open up your own financial service provider. You could back your own credit cards. You could have a Valve Steam credit card, and you could have a payment mechanism that way that goes around the international banking system. But that's one of the problems with this particular topic across all sorts of things. We see this hit politics. We've seen this hit other things in the past. We've seen GoFundMe have to have certain positions based on what banks have demanded of them and things like that. This is one of those areas where there's too much nested interests, corporations, even governments in certain respects, that because we're in a global economy, because the payment processors are so important to making that economy function, it's difficult to unwind if they decide that they want something. But we don't want some kind of quasi extra legal super government run by Visa. So that's where you have these questions, and it always starts with the crowd that it's very difficult to defend, right? So
I want that.
Travis wants to live in the cyberpunk world controlled by MasterCard and Visa. That's fine, Travis.
I do.
You go there, enjoy.
I want corporations.
I'll visit you in your giant apartment building.
Thanks. Yeah. That'd be good. Cybernetic implants are you gonna get, Hogue?
What cyber implants? I want the like super strong skeleton. You know, I just want to be able to carry more, really.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's really the limit on, it's not the number of hands you have. It's really just, I wish my skeleton were a little thicker. I'd be able to carry so much more. It's really what it comes down to.
Yep. No, that's when I play my Cyberpunk 2077 character, I think the very first thing I do is say, can we enhance the skeleton? Let's get this going. Yeah. I want to hold more stuff.
I want to wear those neckties that are always, how sci-fi neckties are always like really geometric. They're not smooth. They always have like sharp angles and shit.
I do.
Except for Back to the Future. Then they're just two neckties. That's the only deviation. You just wear two.
It's funny. I think that the Cyril necktie from Andor season 2, when he's being classy, I think would really work for you. It is one of those very specific.
I reacted to that scene when that necktie was revealed. I had to pause it and I turned to D. I was like, that's pretty cool. That is what I want to wear.
That's how you get Travis to watch your show, folks.
That's right. Just give me some new necktie ideas.
Speaking of neckties, sir, you told us that you have the Donkey Kong tie.
Oh, I do. I was supposed to wear it today.
You were.
Should I go grab it?
DK wore his. I don't know what your problem is.
Should I go grab it? I mean, now, like, if I don't wear it on this episode, when am I going to get to use it?
Go grab it. Go grab it. I'll mention something else. Speaking of Speaking of corporations and other stuff too, just randomly, I got this message, I think, on Thursday, and obviously, like, it literally went into effect on Friday, which is Microsoft just announced to all their Xbox people and on your live account that Microsoft Movies and TV is basically no more. So no more rentals, no more purchases. Obviously, anything you've bought in the past, you still have access to. But
I'm
it's
not
just
sure how obvious that is on its face. It seems like it should be obvious, but that was a good part of that announcement, certainly.
Actually, that's true. We shouldn't assume, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, it's kind of funny because people, some of the guys I talked to were like, who uses their Xbox for that anyway? And funny enough, I did. The main reason I would rent movies on there is because you can rent movies from any of our streaming services, right? And they're all generally the same price. But on the Xbox ones, you would get points or free rentals. And so when we rent just horror movies for a few bucks, I'd do it on Xbox because eventually, after 3 movies or whatever, you'd have another free rental. So I would never really buy anything digitally, but it was weird to go to the store. I think last night I did. And yeah, movies, TV, shows, everything. It's just gone. Like it's not even there anymore.
Travis, you got to keep the one hair out of place. It's how you show in an anime that you've been flustered and gone through some stuff.
Hold it up again. I didn't see. That's awesome. I need that for work.
DK. Yeah. Donkey Kong.
That
Donkey
is a
Kong
brightly colored tie, man. Good job.
I've just learned by sitting here, it does not show well on camera. It is not that color. It is the exact color of, maybe if I, nope, still looks pink. All right. Well, not that. Yeah, no,
it's actually red.
It is red. It is the exact color of the DK tie. It does not show well on camera, which is something I'm learning in real time.
My DK is currently sporting a neon light up bow tie. So if you have one of those, Travis, you can run it off screen.
I actually do.
That's awesome.
I actually do. I have a tie that has like lights all around the sides, and you can make it do like, it's one you'd wear at like an EDM concert.
Well, when my daughters
when you wear your tie to EDM concerts.
When I'm playing a game with my daughters, they're in charge on these kinds of things, and they would not let me change out of the neon bow tie. So.
Smart.
Nice. So we were just talking, Travis, very briefly about Xbox removing all movies and TV from their platform entirely. So like there's no Microsoft movies and TVs gone now.
Right. So is that like I can't access my old stuff, or
no? You can still access your old stuff.
You just can't buy new things.
Yeah, that's why some of the reporting was a little bit strange. I know people in all industries, it's not really limited to gaming, like to report on things as cataclysmic events, but there were a number of headlines that were like, Microsoft ends TV and movie purchases without any notice. It's like, yeah, well, you don't need to give notice for I'm closing my store. You need to give notice for you can't play your stuff anymore. But part of the press release was you can watch anything that you already purchased.
That's cool. I own some stuff. I've noticed that they've had like good deals in the past for TV and movies, and since you can watch these things anywhere, no matter where you buy them, sometimes I would buy things on Microsoft's platform. Like, I think I own all the James Bond movies on Microsoft's platform. They sold them for $10 once, and I was like, "What? It's like 27 movies for $10." I bought it. So
you can definitely go through the various stores because the movie studios have the movies anywhere concept that you can use that lets you watch them on anything.
Great feature.
It is a great feature. It was really a response to people getting concerned that they were going to lose access to their digital content. And it really works well. I wish there was a TV version. Your shows don't cross over the same that movies do. But I didn't know whether Microsoft was a part of that process or not. If they are, then this really isn't a news story for anybody that's keeping track of what they're doing with their digital purchases.
Yeah, I believe they are, because I am pretty big on that. I have it connected to all my stuff, and I basically never have to think about which platform I'm logging into. Which
so you bought it on the sale that you saw on the Microsoft Movies app, and then you could watch it on your Apple app or wherever else. Like that's the way the digital network works right now, and I think it works really well for movies.
That's good. Yeah, cool. We did have a super chat come in while we were chatting from Lucius about Battlefield. Sorry for getting to this one a little late, Lucius.
Lucius Augustus, $5 super chat. One of the best things about Battlefield games is you can still launch Battlefield 4 and 1 and still get into some games via custom servers on PC.
Yeah, that's true. That's
cool.
Definitely one of the cool things about the Battlefield franchise. I also love in Battlefield 2042, one of the best things about that game is they have the section, I forget the name of it now, but you can play some of the classic maps from Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4. Can't remember what the hell it's called now, but it's really good. That brought back some really cool memories for me playing on those. And it's the classic mechanics too. So it's like the mechanics from Bad Company 2 when you play Bad Company 2, which is neat. So very cool, Lucius. Thank you very much for the super chat. Sorry for getting that one late, my friend. All right, boys. I think it's gonna be an early show for us this week. It's not a whole lot of news, and we talked about the games. I do want to mention one goofy thing, which I normally wouldn't mention here, and I've been kind of playing with it here. in my hands is I was sent this, and I don't know how many people watch our show that are mobile gamers. We don't often talk about mobile gaming here, in the sense of not like the Switch, but actual on phone mobile gaming.
Yeah.
And there's a company out of the UK called Puck, and they make some really interesting accessories for people who play on their phones. And one of them is this. So believe it or not, this is a case. And what it is you open it up, and it's a magnetic thumbstick, like a normal concave thumbstick that you would put, and you basically attach it on your phone. Let's see if I got my phone right here. So I was toying around with this. So it basically, like, you know how on your phone it'll have like the D-pad or the thumbstick built into the screen. So you basically just do this, and it connects. Oh, didn't connect really well there. Sorry. But it basically connects, and you basically use it like a normal thumbstick on your phone, and it's an actual like functional thumbstick instead of using that on-screen display that has no kind of tactile feedback. So it's interesting. It was just randomly sent to me. I figured I'd mention it for any mobile gamers out there that like to play on their phone. And then when you're done with it, you put it in this little carrying case, and it just sits in this little magnetic case. So it's interesting. If you like to play games on your phone, I think there's some pretty cool accessories out there. And Puck has some other stuff as well that they're promoting. I don't really play a lot of mobile, like I said, at all. So I didn't want to talk about any of the other stuff. But yeah, it's really well made. It's a nice little package you can get. So that's just PUK is the company. You can check it out. And if you're into mobile gaming, figured I'd mention it.
Nice.
So yeah. Boys, let's see. We've got on the SG side of the house to close this out. We do have a review of that game. I can't mention still right now, but that review will be up in a couple days' time. So look for it early this week. It is one you're going to want to check out. And I'll talk more about it next week, obviously. And then I think that's the major stuff for us next week. I have a couple statues as always to talk about, but I'm not going to worry about that here. Hogue, I'll pass to you first this week.
Every time I see the rundown and you're talking about statue review, I keep thinking it's a statute review, like a law. And I don't know what's going on over here at this channel, but enjoy
the whole bunch of new things happening you're not aware of, my friend. Yeah.
There always is. That's the nature of being a lawyer. But yes, I'm very happy to say that I did have a Hangouts and Headlines episode that I taped this week that was on some of the controversy around the late Biden administration's auto pen usage and pardoning system that I think is a good conversation. It's one of my favorite videos that I've done in years. So please do check that out if you're interested in the media coverage of that at all. Hangouts and Headlines is a little bit of a different show than Virtual Legality. We talk about how things are reported on, what is not reported on, and how things are said in these various reports. I don't usually cover politics because that's the most clear place that you can see media putting their thumbs on various scales because of reasons. But this one I thought was important enough. It has a legal concept that I wanted to talk through with people. So I think it's an excellent video that I'm proud of. So please do check that out. I've talked about the fact that I may do a virtual legality on some of this stuff with Steam and credit card processors. I may still do a virtual legality on the Subnautica bonus situation. I think as more and more of that comes out, you're even seeing right now the reporting get to where we were last week when we talked about that very briefly, which is that it's not at all obvious from what any one side says on this topic at the outset. That's not how law disputes work. So I think we're winding up more in that middle space where things are going to have to be hammered out that we were expecting in that conversation. So I'm not sure how necessary a video is, but I do have more to say on that. So that might be a video in the future. Right now, neither of those virtual legality episodes exist. So please don't come into my comments and ask me where they are or where they can find them. But if you're interested in the Hangouts and Headlines, that is there. Did that on Wednesday, and you can check that out. That's all I got.
Cool. Travis, you got a bunch of reviews. Any coming this week, or is it week after next?
It's week after next. So your guys' next show, I will have still nothing to talk about, really.
Your guys' next show. You are part of the show.
I won't be here next week. I need to tell you about that. So, yeah. Anyway,
I can't even tell if you're joking or not.
I'm not joking. I am not going to be here next Sunday. What am I working on? Yeah, I've got my Destiny review. I'll be able to talk about Wildgate, and because that's coming out on Tuesday. No early copies for that, but I'm on the review. And then the other two games, Tales of the Shire and Grounded 2, are under embargo until July 29. So that'll be 2 weeks from now. Yeah. that's where I'm at. I'm doing a couple previews as well, but again, I never know when I'm going to be able to talk about this stuff. And sometimes you never get to talk about it. You guys ever had that happen?
No,
It's
I'm
happened to me
not.
recently.
I don't get these early access things, so I'm never asked to not talk about something.
No, I mean, like sometimes I do a preview and it has an embargo, and then the game gets canceled, and then
I'm
you
never
just
on
never
those
get to talk about
previews.
it.
I'm never invited to those parties that you go to.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense given your vocabulary. They're like, put the pinky down.
This
You're not
can't be a
invited here.
bit. You can't make fun of my vocabulary every week.
This is a pinkies down only event. Sorry.
All right.
Ains, can I make one more call out? It's not quite a hoax note, but I did want to remember and remind people, if they hadn't seen this, that this was an announcement that happened this week, that Abubakar Salim's studio, Surgent, announced that their new horror game, Dead Take, is coming out at the end of this month. Like, they announced this like this week. So I love that. First of all, I want to support anybody that announces their pending game like immediately prior to its release. But this game also announced that it's going to have a lot of cameos and live action appearances like Ben Starr from Final Fantasy and Sam Lake from Alan Wake. So, they're speaking my language already. I hope the game is fantastic. I obviously haven't played it. It's not a hoax note yet, but it comes out July 31st. So just a little bit after this show.
What's the name of the game again?
Dead Take. Dead Take. Great name.
Dead Take. And it looks like an old school kind of first-person adventure game set up with live action components in what is described as a psychological horror. So I'm ready. July is an odd time for that release of a game like that, I think, but I'm happy that it's very soon. So I want to give it a try, and I wanted to mention it before we left the show because I hadn't seen anybody talk about it.
No, I wasn't aware. Sorry, Travis. I was going to say I wasn't aware of this. This looks awesome, and I will definitely let Ray know because Ray loves these types of horror games. So, fantastic.
Yeah, it was flagged for me as a fan of Immortality. So we'll see.
Okay. Travis, sorry.
Ains, have you shown us your wares?
Yes, I already did. I don't have many wares to sell this week. Sorry.
I really just wanted to remind everybody.
Yeah, I always forget that. Apologies. By the way, I forgot we had our poll running here on DK Bonanza. So 22 votes of people playing it. 40% said they're going bananas with it. 36%, right about the same, said they're liking it a lot, but it's not game of the year material. And then about a fifth of people, smaller, said they're disappointed in it. So take that as you will. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, community. Very generous today. Sorry for the shorter show. We've not only were there not a lot of topics this week, but Hogue and I both have stuff going on this weekend today.
Yes, this afternoon.
In fact, it's actually my youngest son's birthday today, so taking care of that. And he is no longer a teenager. My youngest son.
You're gonna wear a pointy hat.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, feel old. Am I going to wear a pointy hat? No.
Mm-hmm. You look good in a little birthday hat. You got the right head shape. You look really good. Maybe a little poof ball at the end of the pointy hat. I'd like that.
All right. All right. I'll see what I can do for you, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Anyway, chat, you've been awesome. Enjoy your gaming this week. We'll be back next week, apparently without Travis. So we'll figure that one out. And more to come. So we'll see you then. Thank you as always. Till next week. Peace.